Going directly to the speech that we have and our guest speakers, we have today the pleasure to open this webinar with a presentation from Maria Mecenero. She is the policy officer of the Directorate-General of Research and Innovation of the European Commission. Her work is mostly focused in improving the synergies between research and innovation and higher education institutions and research performing organization within the European research era. Of course, Maria, I will not say much about your experience because I will leave the floor to you. And from Maria, we will hear her presentation about connecting policies and projects, advancing the European research area together.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for the invitation to this interesting webinar today.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, no, sometimes I have, I don't know why I hear like the last sentence that you said repeated. It's a bit weird, but okay, now I think that I'm all set up. So yeah, again, thank you so much for having me. Buongiorno a tutti. I see that there are a lot of Italians in the audience, so I will still continue in English, but it's good to see. So I'm gonna share my screen now. Please do let me know if you see it well. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, perfect. So today I will present the policy update, the latest policy updates on the European research area, as was rightly introduced. And let's say the work that we're doing not only on the wider spectrum of the European research areas, but also with an eye on universities and higher education institutions. I am working as a policy officer in the Directorate-General for Research and Innovation of the European Commission, and more specifically in the team that deals with the European research area, research careers, and widening countries. So I would like to start a bit from the presenting a bit the policy framework and the governance of the European research area. I think that a few of you that replied that you're very familiar and you follow closely the latest policy development, you can go get coffee or something because you're going to know this really well. But just to give all of the rest, let's say, a better idea of what it means to work on the European research areas and how we're doing it. So the European research area is the ambition to create a single borderless market for research, innovation, and technology across the European Union, where there is a free movement of research, knowledge, and innovation. You might have heard a bit more about it lately since the publication of the Letter report, and this is exactly what it calls the fifth freedom. And the fifth freedom has been recognized widely lately in important reports like the Letter report, the Draghi report, in the mission letter of our commissioner and of our president, Ursula von der Leyen. And so this is the ambition that we're working on for, as Laura said rightfully in the introduction, 25 years. So here you can see a bit like the more important milestones that we have been working on since 2000. So in 2000, the European research area kind of became an idea and a political project to address the fragmentation at the EU level for research innovation. But it was recognized officially only in 2007 with the Lisbon Treaty, when it was enshrined in the treaties of the European Union, exactly in Article 179. So that the freedom of circulation of a researcher's scientific knowledge and technology became one of the objectives of the European Union, also in the treaties. In 2021, there was an important development, which was revamping of the European research area with the Pact for Research Innovation and the first era policy agenda. We're going to see what the policy agenda means in a few seconds. And in 2024, we had our first communication on implementation of the European research area, which was kind of recapping what was done since the revamp. And that led to also the start of the second, of the implementation of the second European research area policy agenda that we're working on now, that is covering the period going from 2025 to 2027. I maybe for the next presentation will add last date here, which will be 2026, when we expect the adoption of the European Research Area Act, which is the first legislative act implementing the objectives of the area. We're going to see it in also a few minutes together. So what is the ERA policy agenda? The ERA policy agenda is basically a roadmap, a document that details all of the actions and the policies that we think are important to achieve the objectives of the European research area listed. It is really like the roadmap and the document that we follow to kind of track also the progress that we are making on the implementation of the European research area. What is important to know is that it is a non-binding instrument that is implemented by member states and stakeholders on a voluntary basis. It encourages collaboration on the commitments of the European research area. So far, we have implemented the first European policy agenda launched in 2022, so from 2022 to 2024. And now we're working on the second one, which was politically endorsed in May. It is very important that this politically endorsed, because even if it's on a voluntary basis, member states have committed to work on the European research area's objectives. Another way where we are trying to get and reach the objectives of the European research area is with the ERA Act. The ERA Act is the first legal instrument that would tackle the issues that are not yet been fully addressed by our work on the policy agenda, and that maybe cannot be fully addressed by only voluntary action. So we have identified the areas where we think that legislative action is necessary to really propose and find solutions together with member states and stakeholders. We're gonna see it together just in a while, but we have had a call for evidence. Now we're in the process of the public consultation, which will close on the 23rd of January. And we're also in the process of launching an impact assessment, which will also close in January and will inform our work on the legislative text. Another way that we are using to reach the objectives of the ERA is through the Research Innovation Framework Program that you all know as Horizon Europe, and especially in the WIDERA part of the Horizon Europe with grant-based funding framework, and this part of the program specifically supporting the implementation of the two policy agendas. So we will also see together how some of the structural policy and actions that are detailed in the policy agenda match directly the calls that we are proposing in the WIDERA framework program. So this is a very quick overview, just to let you know, if you've never seen it, how did the first policy agenda look like? So you can see it's structured into the 4 priority areas of the Pact for Research and Innovation adopted in 2021. And it has these 4 priorities. I have highlighted for you the Action 13, which is titled Empower Higher Education Institutions, because probably it's particularly relevant for the focus of the projects that are presented here today, and also kind of seeing where you come from and what you're working on. So we have been working on this topic for a while, and we are continuing to work on this topic, because even after under this policy agenda, the current one, 2025-2027, we have an action that has a really long title, very descriptive one, but at least it's clear, and it's aimed at improving the articulation between research, innovation, and higher education within the European research area, basically to unleash the full potential of European research innovation ecosystems. So the projects that are presented here today have contributed to the goals of Action 13, the one that we just saw before, and they keep on contributing to the objectives of this structural policy that we're seeing here. So you can see already the synergies where we have projects that are funded by Horizon Europe that are contributing already to the objectives of that are described under the policy agenda. You can see that comparing to the previous policy agenda here, there is a division between structural policy and actions, meaning that with structural policies, we work on objectives that are not confined within the implementation time of the policy agenda, but we want to keep working on them even after 2027, where at the ERA actions, they have more time-bound and specific objectives to achieve. I saw that there are a lot of research managers. For example, the action on research managers is an action because there are like more specific objectives. That doesn't mean that we're going to stop working on research management and with research managers after 2027, but just to make you understand a bit the difference between the macro areas and the more specific goals. On the improving the articulation between research, innovation, and higher education, structural policy, it is focused it is focused to create a more structured exchange and a more systematic approach to indeed improve the articulation between research innovation and higher education, to establish more robust partnership between these actors in order still to reduce the fragmentation and bridge the regional divide that we keep seeing in these two areas. So this is the main objective of this structural policy that we're working on. How we're going to do it, we have 4 expected outcomes that are described in the text. First, some recommendations to basically design and implement strategies at the institutional, regional, national, and European level. Then the identification of legal obstacles and the main components for a legal framework for establishing the fifth freedom. The identification of policy mechanism to foster this robust cooperation and a more systematic approach between higher education institutions and research innovation actors, and a roadmap for the alignment of the European research area and the European education area, which is also a similar concept to the European research area, but more on the policy area of education. So we have to create this alignment. We are working on this with a group composed by member states and stakeholders under the framework of the European Research Area Policy Agenda. We are going to have our first workshop of the group on the 12th of December. So very soon. And Stefania from aPaEU is going to be at the workshop to present the results that you have achieved already with the within the work that you're doing under these 3 projects. And we're gonna, of course, keep in touch because you're gonna keep working on it. But I think it was already a very good first contact that we have established, because we want to really keep the synergies between the work that you're doing and the main, like the macro objectives that we want to reach at the policy level, let's say. I also want to kind of show you very quickly how the European Research Area is we aim to reach it and how we're doing it. We're working on the framework programs to do so. Action 13, the one that we have saw in the Policy Agenda 2022-2024, also had, let's say, as a result of the creation of this European Excellence Initiative, which is a call that just closed under the Work Program 2025 of the WIDERA work program of Horizon Europe. You can see here a bit where were the policy objectives and the scope. And it's basically, it's under the widening part of the work program. Widening are those countries that are a bit behind in R&I investments at the national level in terms of percentage of the GDP. And so basically the consortium, when applying for this call, must have included at least one country, one institution established in a widening country. And basically the policy objective was to support the transformation of higher education sector and their surrounding ecosystem. So basically exactly what you're doing already with the 3 projects that have organized the webinar today. We have received an overwhelming amount of applications. I just heard about it this morning. It was the highest budget for this call that we have so far, and by far the highest number of applications that we have received ever for this kind of call, meaning that there's a lot of interest from universities and higher education institutions to apply to Horizon Europe call. And this is a bit what is going to happen in the upcoming work program 2026-2027. I'm not revealing any secrets here, because as part of a more transparent procedure when adopting the work program, all of this is accessible in the comitology register. But just to give you here a bit of an overview, you can see when we're talking, when we mention the policy areas, here you can see basically the synergies that we can find between the topics of the policy agenda and the policy areas that are covered in the calls under the WIDERA part of the program. So you can see how through this call we're also contributing to the objectives of the policy agenda. Again, here, a couple of important dates. This is on the 10th of December. I mean, there might be some delays, I'm not going to lie, but around that time, you should be able to see the publication of the work program 2026-2027. And a very important date, if you're interested in applying or hearing more about this, on the 11th of December, we're going to have the info day of the WIDERA part of the work program, where we will in detail go through all of the calls and reply to your questions, etc. So you can connect online. At the end of my slides, there is the link. And if you cannot come on the 11th of December, it will be registered and the Q&A are going to be collected in the website nonetheless. So, but I invite you to check it out if you're interested in applying. This is a bit of the overview for widening. And in the widening, for the widening part, the info day is going to be on the 22nd of January. So also very interesting if you want to apply. Then you might have followed a bit the new developments for the negotiation for the FP10. I mean, it's still going to be called Horizon Europe, but for the sake of clarity here, we're going to refer to it as FP10. So the new framework program for research and innovation that will be adopted in the new cycle of the MFF. So from 2027, 2028 on. And you can see that in the proposed architecture, there is a pillar that is only dedicated to the European research area, which is very good, because it means that we can focus on achieving the European research area objective with a dedicated pillar of the framework program for research innovation. You can see here a rough division of the budget, and 16.2 billion of the 175 billion of proposed budget should be dedicated to the European research area. To support the development of a unified era with a focus on promoting excellence, inclusiveness, and impact, and supporting the development and operation of a research and technology infrastructure. So with 5.4 billion dedicated to widening, I'm not sure if, I'm sure that in the audience we'll have someone from widening countries, so this is also very interesting for them. And very, very quickly on the ERA Act. As I was saying, this is a bit the timeline for the ERA Act. Now we have the public consultation open for 12 weeks until the 23rd of January. Public consultation is a process where the Commission collects opinions and inputs by stakeholders to make sure that their inputs are included in the legislative text. And so we are consulting everyone in the Have Your Say portal that want to contribute. So if you haven't checked it out or done it yet, I would invite you to do so if you want to contribute to this legislative initiative. There was also a call for evidence that was opened from the 6th of August to the 10th of September. That is kind of like a wider call for action with a bit more open inputs, whereas in the public consultation, they are already structured. Also based on what we have received before. We have received 178 contributions from 29 countries, so a really good results. And basically, the two main points that we took from also this call for evidence is a strong support for the ERA Act and its main objectives, which is very good, and an alignment of contributions around key priority problems and objectives that then we want to address and we are including as main pillars in the ERA Act. So we have selected three main areas of interventions according to the communication on the competitiveness compacts. So strengthening research and development investment, which should be always our main goal. You know that this target of the so-called Barcelona target of the 3% has been a target for quite a long time, and some countries are very, very far away from reaching it. And without achieving this 3% target, it will be always very, very difficult, if not impossible, to achieve the objectives of the ERA. Then reinforcing the alignment of investments and policies between the EU and member states and across member states. And the third pillar is improving the conditions for research and researchers working on an array of different topics. So you can see all of these in the ERA policy platform. You can visit it. We update all of the monitoring reports, the progress indicators, the news events, information on the public consultation, on the ERA Act, on whatever. So if you want to keep up with the policy updates, I would really suggest that you have a look. And then again, what to keep an eye on that is happening. As I said, the public consultation, the monitoring report that are constantly being uploaded to see also how the ERA is performing, even in your member state, if you're interested. And the conference on research careers on the 11th and 12th of December. I already told you about the workshop that we're going to have on the 12th of December, but on the 11th of December is a plenary day. where we have open session that you can also follow online. So you can find the link in the thank you slide, and you can follow the conference with all policy updates. There is an interesting policy update also on Choose Europe, which is really complementary with the ERA update that I gave you today, and as well as many others. So I would encourage you to follow the conference on the 11th of December. And with this, I thank you, and I take all of the questions that you might have.
Thank you very much, Maria, for your presentation and for all the information that you shared about the work that is being done from ERA, and also for the upcoming calls and the new agenda. Yeah, we open the floor to questions. If there is any questions that you want to address to Maria right now, or also at the end, we will have a session of question and answers in general, but as we have Maria now after the presentation, maybe it would be good if you want, if you have any couple of questions. Otherwise, as I said, at the end in the Q&A, we will have the chance to catch up with all the questions. Maybe just for everyone, there was a question about the presentation of the recording, and as my colleagues also replied, for everyone, we will share all the presentations of the webinar in our CATALISI Learning Hub in our website, and you can find the links in the message that our colleagues replied. Okay, if we do not have any question for the moment, maybe we will catch up later. Thank you very much again, Maria, for your presentation, and best of luck with the work with the new call and the new agenda. We hope we will have the chance to collaborate again in the future projects. Okay, then it's time to give the floor to another guest speaker. We are happy to have today Philip Ackerman, scientific advisor at the DLR Project Management Agency. Welcome, Philip, and thank you for accepting our invitation for this webinar. Philip coordinates the project Inspiring Era, and his work mainly concentrates in citizen science, international cooperation, and strengthening the link between the research, policy, and society at European level. Today, we will have the chance to hear more from Philip about the Inspiring Era project and understanding and raising awareness on ERA. Welcome, Philip.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for the introductions. Also, thank you to Maria to give an excellent overview of what the ERA is and how the policy level is developing. So I will share my screen in a second. Give me 1 moment.
Sure.
Because I have a presentation as well. I hope you can see it. Maybe a quick
Yeah,
nod.
we can share.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you very much. So yeah, I'm the coordinator of the Inspiring Era project, and our main objective is basically to bringing the ERA and what is connected to it closer to its research community. To that end, I decided to give you today a quick overview, not again about what is the ERA, because we heard quite a lot about that by Maria already. So I decided to give you an overview of maybe 2 other topics that most of you probably also are in touch with, and what has been achieved over the past 2 to 3 years with the first policy agenda. So the overall objectives, as you remember, of the ERA is the free movement of researchers, knowledge, and technology, strengthening research institution and infrastructure, enhancing cooperation between public and private sectors, and increasing investment in research and development, broadly speaking. You also have the 4 priority areas, which we heard about from Maria already, so I will not dive into them again, and rather focus on 2 other topics that most of you are familiar with and probably wondering what is happening and what's in it for you. Because that's also my job to a certain degree, to break it down and explain or maybe summarize also what's happening on the policy level and how it affects you as researchers, as professors, as institute leaders, and so on and so forth. So a quick overview of what's happening in open science. So basically, on the policy level, we are now at a stage where open science is no longer a nice to have. It really becomes a norm. And most major funders now expect journal articles to be openly accessible. And national policies over the last 3 years have followed. So you can already see a very steady climb in freely available publications, and we hope to see even more over the coming years. Second, we finally have a European Open Science Cloud. I don't know if you have already heard of it, but it's not one giant database, as you might imagine. It's a federation of connecting existing repositories and services. So the new EOC EU node, how is it called, provides a single entry point and sets standards for national and thematic nodes for open science. So maybe have a look at it. It's extremely helpful and is a big step forward. Then, aligning national open strategies. Most EU countries have adopted strategies requiring data to follow FAIR principles. As you know, findable, accessible, interoperable, reusable. And they are pushing toward trusted repositories. And European and national expectations are now converging around the same language. And finally, we also have a good overview by now what's happening on the European level with the error scoreboard and open science observatories. So there's finally some kind of monitoring that makes visible basically who's moving forward and who is still a little bit stuck. And nobody really wants to be the system that is standing still. So you have kind of a good way to see what you are doing in terms of moving towards this open science objectives that we have. So what does this mean for you? So what's in it for you? So basically said, as you manage research groups, for example, there's finally less guesswork about what funders want. We have standardized data management plans on the European level, and the templates are being shared. We have a clear, fair data guidance. We have recommendations for suitable repositories. We have more impact and recognition of non-paper outputs, which is a very big step forward. And we have data sets and softwares that are stored with clear metadata and persistent identifiers. So if you steer a faculty or an institute, I've seen that we have a couple of representatives here as well in the webinar. So now there is a clear external story for internal investment. So if you want to justify, for example, investments in repositories or data services or open science support, you can now point to the area priorities and the national strategies as well. So it's not just for internal preference, but it is an alignment with how Europe defines modern research and infrastructure. So there's also for you the opportunity to have a strategic positioning in alliances and consortia. And if you run research support or strategy, which I've also seen that many are here, you have now standard building blocks for your processes. You have the ERA and the EOC that provide a shared language for templates and support. Please really have a look at it, what's on the website there. And you can embed these elements into proposal checks, in guidelines and training. So there's lots of opportunities to become a recognized service provider. So that is a quick look into what's happening in open science. But what's happening also in research, career and assessment, which is probably also a topic that you follow closely. So for one, we have a big step forward with regards to the agreement on reforming research assessment. We have now principles for looking at quality, at openness and integrity, collaboration, teaching, supervision, and societal impact that go beyond just journal impact factors and raw publication counts. So this really reforms the research assessment to a big step forward. Also, we now have the Coalition for Advancing Research Assessment that may be also interesting for you if you are already part of this network as a university or as a funder or as an agency. This might be a very good point to look at because becoming part of this coalition brings big advantages as well. And then we finally also have a framework for research careers. We now have a European framework to attract and retain research and innovation and entrepreneurial talents. And it includes a new European Charter for researchers. So it basically describes what good research jobs should look like: transparent in recruitment, fair working conditions, career developments and recognition, diverse paths. So also including moves to industry, the public sector, or back to academia. We also now have an ERA talent platform. I hope that you've heard of it already. It basically combines the very big tools like Eurexis for jobs and mobility, or HR excellence and research, the competence framework Research Comp, also the pension solutions Resaver. So if you're a researcher and want to secure your pension or improve your pension, look at Resaver. It is a very good tool for that. And finally, you have with these research career and assessment also a long-term impact now with the new upcoming ERA policy agenda that has been already beginning in 25 to 27. So again, more clearly, what's in it for you concretely? You have way more room for diverse contributions that count. It will become easier to argue that supervision, team building, data curation, software, and so on and so forth is a big step forward in terms of research assessment. The clearer language to discuss careers with your team, labels for stages and skills that you can use in performance talks, recommendations letters, and so on. If you steer a faculty or an institute, for example, it is perfect for external backing for reforms you may already want in terms of pushing for tenure track models, longer contracts, better onboarding, robust promotion criteria, European frameworks and commitments. They really help you to argue in this direction. And it's also a reference point for talent strategy. So it gives you a very good story to tell. We are aligning with Europe, and it defines attractive research organizations. And if you're in research support or strategy, you again have standard building blocks for processes and templates, and concepts like QARA, the European Careers Framework, the ERA Talent Platform give you already ready-made language and checklists for internal guidelines, evaluation forms, and training. So I skipped the rest because it's basically already what I have pointed out in a certain point. So, and here is again an overview of the next ERA policy agenda from 2025 to 2027. And as Maria already pointed out, we have now moved from ERA actions that rather look at short-term impact to also having the most important policies and structural policies that really look for long-term impact and pick up these long-term developments. So the future of the ERA is basically already pointed out as well. So we have new policy initiatives and the new policy agenda, which is also very important, is that the role of AI and digital transformation in the new ERA policy agenda is now being recognized and is a very key aspect also that is forming on policy level. And we are trying to strengthen green and sustainable research initiative and also, of course, expanding global partnerships beyond the EU. So what do we do as Inspiring ERA? And I hope I have shown this to a certain degree. We try to bring the European research area closer to its research community, and we will be running until December 2026, but most likely will also continue beyond that. And our objectives are to support the successful implementation of the ERA policy agenda, to disseminate results and lessons learned, to facilitate mutual learning and exchange, and to build an ERA community across the entire Europe and the research community. So when it comes to the ERA, we really try to make it visible, showcasting tools and services policy. We try to make it understandable, explaining what policies actually mean in practice, and we try to make it usable so that you researchers, institutions, deans, institute leaders, and so on and so forth can apply ERA outcomes in your daily work. How do we do that? We produce fact sheets, newsletters. We also host events to really explain, summarize, and connect. So I really invite you to also have a look at our website, and we try to be a two-way bridge, which I think is a very important element, because we not only try to explain and to summarize and to basically put information out there, it's also our job to very closely listen to what you have to say as a research community to policy. So, for example, to Maria as well. So if there's anything you see particular challenges, something isn't working well, or something is a best practice, also under the ERA Action 13, I know there's a lot of best practices already gathered, but it's also our job to identify those and to see how we can improve on the policy level as well, listening to the ERA and the ERA community very closely. So really try to use to reach the ERA community, industry, policymakers, the academia, project coordinators, and so on and so forth. So basically everyone who's here in this webinar as well. And summarize what is happening in the ERA and communicate it two ways. So yeah, I really strongly invite you to become part of the ERA community, which you can do on our website to sign up to our newsletter, because we try to give as many people and the best overview as we can over ERA developments, easy to understand, and try and as best we can, not in policy jargon, which I think is a very important thing. So yeah, I very much invite you to join and to keep updated, to be regularly updated on what's happening in the ERA. Yeah, and that's it from my part. And I'm open to your questions.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Philip, and for sharing with us the work that you are doing. Yeah, I see Rimante, do you have a question, right?
Yes, if we have time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your presentation. Just a quick follow-up question. You mentioned that you are running until December 2026.
Yes, that's
but
correct.
most likely will continue. So is this part of your sustainability planning, and what is the strategy that you have in mind to continue?
The strategy is actually very plain. We managed to become an identified beneficiary under the next WIDERA work program. So it is hopefully very likely that we will continue in over 2026 to 2037 and so on and so forth, as we are being recognized in the work program. So that's basically our sustainability strategy, if you ask me.
You are doing a good job, and now you can continue.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for the question, Rimante. I don't know, do you have any other question? Yes, Stefania said in chat, you can also write the questions, and we will address them to the speakers. Okay, thanks again, Philip, for your time and for sharing with us your work. Also for sharing the context and the way how the participants can have more information about your project, or maybe contact you in case they will have questions, or any future collaboration, why not?
Thanks again for having me.
Okay, we can then go to the next presentation, our next speaker. We have the pleasure to have today Egle Buchkevician. Sorry, Egle, for maybe the wrong pronunciation of your surname. Egle is the head of Committee for Political Science, Sociology, and Public Governance in KTU, in Kaunas University of Technology. Also one of the implementers of our project, CATALISI. Thank you for joining us, Egle, and for accepting our invitation. Maybe just a brief presentation of the work that you do. We know that you are mostly focused on research and teaching on civil society, civil participation, social innovation, and citizen science. And Egle has been working for quite a long time with initiatives, several ones in Horizon 2020, and also has served as a national representative in cost action and as an expert in AC Horizon 2020 program and committee. Today, we will have the presentation from Egle, and she will tell us about the concrete examples on R&I institutional transformation and how we can integrate the public engagement and citizen science into university research practice. I don't know, Egle, if you can hear us.
Yes, thank
Great.
you. Thank you for the
Okay,
introduction.
I leave the floor to you if you want to add something also for your introduction and for your speech. Thanks again.
Thank you, Suhida. And let me share my slides just briefly. Okay. Hope you see my slides. And I think you introduced me very well, so I won't take more time for further introductions. And I just would like today to share some actually perspective of how institutional transformation has been implemented or what's happening in KTU. So today I will focus on institutional transformation and how to integrate public engagement and citizen science into the university research practices. So thank you for the invitation to present our work, but when I speak about KTU as a success story, I always put a question mark because transformations is a ongoing process, and is it a success story? We will know just later when we will have for quite a long time in going through this pathway. So my main idea, what I would like to share with you today, is that institutional transformation is a journey. It cannot be reached through one of the projects or in a very short time. So it takes longer efforts and longer time to achieve some transformations if you want to embed some different research culture into the institution. So while developing transformational pathways at the universities, I would like to actually focus on three very simple questions. So first of all, why do we want changes? That is the starting point when we start our transformational journey. So to start from the challenge, what is the reason of the journey? Why we want to do this? The second question is, what do we want to change? And this is related to the goal or to the destination of the journey. And finally, how do we want to implement these changes? And this question is related to actions or I would say some steps of the journey, how we travel. So my brief presentation will focus on three simple questions that I just introduced you. So starting from the why. Everything starts from university mission, and we all know that universities live in a very changing and difficult environment because digital transformations, policy transformations, everything affects how universities live and how we have to adapt to the changing environment. So thinking about KTU as a case, KTU is focusing on interdisciplinarity, envisioning university as the interdisciplinary space, competitive at the international level, but also developing and transferring new knowledge and innovations. And especially this knowledge and technologies that we are focusing on should correspond to the society needs. But that also raises a question. Do we know what society needs? Or do we have capacities and knowledge how to build this public engagement, how to communicate with society, how to involve them better into research and discussions that we have at the universities? That also corresponds to the third mission of the universities, because currently universities are not just focusing on research and education, so they are implementing social mission as well. So with that, we can say what is our goal. If we know the challenge that we want to better work with the public, with the society, and we want to analyze how to enhance public engagement and inclusion of stakeholders to solve societal issues. The second step is to know what we need. And in this way, we focus that actually we need capacity building for public engagement, because it does not come by default. And university researchers, university management, they have to know knowledge, and they have to aware of the benefits and challenges when we speak about public engagement. And our transformational path, they started quite a while. And I would say, I was thinking before this presentation, I was thinking when we started actually this pathway to go and have more emphasis on public engagement. And I would say, especially thinking about citizen science, that was around 2016, when our university, some scholars joined the cost action that focused on citizen science. And actually, since then, like it's already 10 years, how we work to enhance public engagement, but also to enhance citizen science at our institution. Another milestone was 2021, when we joined the project Time for CS, where we started actually, I would say, current transformational pathway. Because when we speak about the CATALISI project, it is a continuum of the previously implemented projects. And when we speak about capacity building, I would say three elements are needed. First of all, we needed to expand awareness and knowledge on citizen science, participatory and co-creative approaches, and also stakeholder involvement. And we started these with several Horizon projects like Time for CS, and then follow up on CATALISI project. Also, this awareness building was strengthened by nationally funded projects such as Citizen Science Hub, that we got institutional support for embedding citizen science as a legitimate department or point at our university. Another step is that we need bottom-up initiatives, but also we need top-down approaches, like favorable approaches. Because if we just have champions at the university, but we don't have support from the management part, not many changes, especially institutional changes, will happen. So it's not enough to have like very active champions, but we need to convince management that it is a right approach to go. And this is also one of the catalyst elements that when we speak about institutional transformation. And for example, for this, I would say we have to have this balanced approach. One of the also success elements, or I would say successful strategies, was that KTU joined alliances. KTU is part of ECU Alliance, and within ECU Alliance, public engagement and citizen science is one of the priorities. So actually, like working in the network is much easier, always much easier. And also other international, national projects also help. Then we speak about YouCount, where we worked with external communities, vulnerable communities, ProBlue, where we work with schools to enhance citizen science, CS for Welfare, where we worked with local municipalities and local communities to implement citizen science projects, and Reconnect, which is also the project that strengthens citizen science and public engagement into the decision making on local level with municipalities. So this balanced approach, I think, is one of the things that also enhance institutional transformations. And finally, building a support system. So policies, trainings, mentorship, this is also very important. And as I said, this started from Time for CS project, where we worked on 4 grounding actions. So one grounding action was research and networking. Within this, we focused on enhancing our embeddedness in different networks, especially related to citizen science networks like EXA and others. Also to developing and expanding research projects that use citizen science perspective. Another pillar was education and awareness, where we worked, we embedded citizen science perspective in bachelor programs, master programs, and PhD programs. Support resources and infrastructure was the pillar that helped us to build virtual citizen science hub, which later was enhanced and developed through the CATALISI project. And finally, policy assessment. That was the pillar that our work was focusing on establishing citizen science guidelines on KTU on university level, and with the rectors signing these guidelines how to implement citizen science. Also, that was a signal for the whole university, whole institution, that this approach is legitimate and acceptable for our university. So through the Time for CS, we obtained some opportunities, very good opportunities, but not all challenges have been solved. That's why the continuation, CATALISI project, is a continuation of the transformations that we started in Time for CS, and now we are continuing. So with the CATALISI project, we focused on analysis of current situation, and we set new goals, how to strengthen public engagement. Then we created the action plans and how we want to achieve these changes. And just then we can speak about some internal transformational change. So just very briefly on the how methodology. So we adapted the methodology, which is quite simple. So it's innovate, learn, and sustain. Through the innovate, we focused on ideas how to do this, to think out of the box, to think how we can strengthen this. And can we do this alone? Yes, we can do this alone, but it's always better when we do in a group. And CATALISI project provided us this strong support from other institutions. In our project, we call them frontrunners. So we had this actually guidelines how to implement changes, and we get a lot of support for these transformational pathways. Then to learn, so acceleration services that this project provided us was one of the ideas, not to learn from our just mistakes, but also to get some support and avoid some mistakes, and that these instant changes might be implemented faster and more efficiently. And finally, sustain. This is what is we are still in the development, even we are at the end of the CATALISI project. It's not the end of a transformational pathway. It's a new, I would say, new bridge, new potential to think about what else we can do and how we can improve citizen engagement. So one of the intervention areas, like as I already mentioned in CATALISI, was public engagement with and outreach to society to solve societal changes. And through the acceleration services, and in particular living labs, we tried to involve public in decision making about how to better develop citizen science hub, how to also develop this sustainability strategy. And this was aligned with our internal strategy, faculty strategy that emphasizes internationalization, multidisciplinarity, and methodological competencies. So through this, we tried to gain more networking with international community. Of course, there were challenges like not enough time for researchers, not enough motivation. Sometimes it's some bureaucracy is there. Through the multidisciplinarity, we emphasized co-creative approach, and also it came with challenge such as research evaluation. Sometimes it's not so easy when we have multidisciplinary research and research outputs like articles and so on. It's not always easy to actually comply with our current version of research assessment because QARA is here, but not all institutions are signed, and it's still some challenges are left, and a lot of is to do in the future. And methodological competencies like broadening horizons on including participatory approach, but also there are challenges like validity, engagement, and so on. Through the CATALISI project, we tried to understand how to better achieve our goals through living labs, and we now currently are part of the Living Labs Association in Lithuania, and we tried this methodology involving stakeholders, but still there is a lot of to do, and that's why the outcome of our project is the like creating a roadmap as sustainability pathway, speaking there about what are our next purposes, what are the stakeholders that we want to address later, and what are engagement strategies, infrastructure and support we have, implementation plan, and monitoring of the evaluation. And this will be a deliverable, which I would like to ask you to check in 1 month. Yes, in 1 month already. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Egle, for your presentation, and congratulations on the job that you have been doing for many years and for the consistency in this, as you said, very long and maybe sometimes slow process of the institutional transformation. And I think that it's very important when we talk about institutional transformation to mention this part, that it can be slow and a very long process, but it's very interesting, and I also believe encouraging hearing from your success story that it's a change and a transformation that can be done, but it needs a lot of effort and patience maybe in all the process. And as you mentioned, all the part of the stakeholders that collaborate together to make this transformation happen. I don't know if we have any question for Egle or any comments. Yeah, Rimante, thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for the presentation. It was really interesting to hear from university perspective, about this process. And you mentioned leadership engagement and like leadership commitment. Being part of the alliances is like one aspect that is important, but maybe some other things that worked for you, if you could share. Interesting.
Yeah. Thank you, Remante, for the question. Actually, yes, I do believe that like not just bottom-up perspective is it's very important, because without the enthusiasm, without the researchers that do this, nothing will move forward. But still, we need this institutional support, because if, for example, one of the examples would be academic career assessment, right? So if the institution is focusing just on Q1, Q2 articles, or grants that like researcher attracts to the university, and does not recognize all this, for example, work with society, like citizen science projects, like participatory initiatives, and so on. The signal is quite clear, right? That this part is not important then, right? But if we change, for example, career assessment criteria, including these all items that are not just articles or grants, that would be a very good signal that it is important. And then researchers would be more interested, more motivated to do this, because we just have for 24 hours in the day, right? And at least half of, not half, but at least several of them we have to spend sleeping, right? So then we have to think about our distribution of working time. We sometimes do priorities, prioritize the things that are awarded or are recognized by the university, right? So that's why the acknowledgement of public engagement, acknowledgement of citizen science is very important on the management level. And I hope that some changes will happen with COARA agreements, but also I think that's a slow process. It's not happening overnight. But thank you for the question. It's really a good point what you mentioned.
Thank you, Remante, for the question. Thanks, Egle, for the answer. I see a question from Stefania for Egle. Beside Living Labs, how the other acceleration services support you in this journey, especially mutual learning and twinning, allowing connections with other universities?
Yeah. Thank you for the question. Actually, the twinning and mutual learning workshops were a very very rewarding actually in CATALISI, because one thing is just to read what others do, but going to the site, seeing with our own eyes, and seeing how the processes are happening, speaking not just with project team, but the broader the community at the universities, at the institutions that were actually hosting twinnings and hosting MMLs was very interesting, and it encouraged some changes, to change what we saw in the other institution. We tried to adapt, and that was really, really good and very successful, I would say, outcome of the acceleration service. And especially when others came to our institution, and we invited director, vice rector, and of course rector was not able to participate, but vice rector and other management team from the university level, they also had a chance to see what changes are happening in other institutions, and that was really very helpful for us to implement our changes.
Thank you very much for the answer, Egle. I don't know if you have any other question. You can raise your hand or write directly in the chat. Thank you, Stefania, for the question, sorry. Okay, I don't see any other question. Maybe in the last session of questions and answers. Thanks again, Egle, for making time and showing us the work that you have been doing for so many years. Thanks a lot and best of luck with all this long process that CATALISI is following.
Thank you. Hopefully this CATALISI is not the last project, and we will go forward on this pathway of transformations.
I really hope so. I really hope so. Thanks again. Okay, we move forward to the last session of this webinar, where we have the pleasure to have representatives from 3 sister projects, and we will have a presentation about the results and recommendations from WIDERA projects on the empowerment of higher education institutions in line with the ERA. And we have the pleasure to have today representatives from CATALISI project, Laura Mentini and Stefanella Neve, project coordinators of CATALISI from Agency of Promotion for Promotion of the European Research Area APRE. And we have also Rimante Rushaite, Senior Project Officer and Project Coordinator of Accelerate Future HEIs project from the University Innovation Network. And also Jesus Alcober, Associate Professor and Project Coordinator of aUPaEU project from the Università Politecnica de Catalunya. Thank you to all the representatives of the sister projects for accepting our invitation. I will leave the floor maybe directly to the representatives of APRE. Just maybe you can do a short introduction of what will be said, and then we will continue with each presentation from the sisters. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Saida. I'll share my slides right away. Can you see them?
Yeah.
Okay, so good morning again. Thank you for being here. We're very happy to see so many participants. We believe this is an important discussion to have, so we're very, very happy to see all of you here and to be able to hopefully bridge the gap between projects and policies. So thanks once again. As Suida mentioned, on this last part, we will focus on our results from the sister projects, but also joint recommendations that we've been developing individually in our projects, but also jointly throughout the 3 WIDERA projects, in line with what Maria mentioned in the beginning, which is the specific area of the empowerment of universities in line with the ERA, so Action 13 of the ERA Policy Agenda 2022-2024. And this is because, as mentioned, these 3 projects are all funded under WIDERA work program from 2022. Our project is ending in 1 month, but the other 2 projects are actually continuing for the other couple of years. So the main aim of our projects overall is to make sure that universities are drivers of change in alignment with the European Research Area's objective, but also in line with the higher education transformation agenda. As Maria said in the beginning, the European Commission from several agendas and years is supporting projects to take action, to develop concrete strategies, tools, services that can help universities in drawing roadmaps for institutional change, therefore contributing to new governance frameworks. And therefore we have our 3 projects here, concretely developing acceleration services and helping universities modernize their structures and ultimately, as said, contribute to ERA Action 13. So to go a bit deeper into CATALISI, Egle already illustrated a very concrete example of how universities have been working within our project. But in general, the aim was to support individual strategies for 7 universities through the adoption of what we call in our project acceleration services, which are designed specifically to facilitate and to accelerate institutional transformation in different fields of research and innovation, with also the aim of strengthening collaborations across regions. Here you have an overview of the consortium. We've been working with 11 partners across 8 different EU countries, and it is important to mention that 3 of them are widening countries, therefore Greece, Lithuania, and Poland. And also the project is built upon 2 main parts. So we have 7 implementers, so-called, which are the universities who are called to change, to implement new reforms in their structures, and 4 facilitators, so other organizations which are not universities that have been supporting those universities, co-creating activities with them, transferring knowledge, and providing acceleration services. Here you can see the areas of interventions, so where our universities have been changing, within which context they've been implementing changes. These are categorized in 3 main domains. So we have changes for what regards the areas of research careers and talent support. So as mentioned before also by Philippe, necessary changes in the reform of research assessment, for instance, or in supporting talent circulation and their mobility, the digitization of universities as an important topic. Another core, let's say, domain and area of change relates to how research is being done. So changes and actions in open science, in engaging with the public to solve societal challenges, as KTU illustrated just before, or reinforcing the role of universities within their local ecosystem. And finally, changes with what regards the aspect of sustainability, also in financial terms, also in their campus operations. So as you can see, very different areas of intervention in line with the ERA. And this is an overview of the acceleration services that we've been... I hear a voice. I don't know if it's a question, but... So we have been designing, developing, and implementing, testing actually these services in our universities to accelerate change. There are 7 of them. We have living labs. This was illustrated before. It is a co-creation methodology utilized in universities to assess needs, but also co-design actions with them. A counseling coaching service, a very tailored transformation pathway and journey for each of our universities, a study on future skills in line with the area of work for universities, a digital platform that you can also check. We have the link in the chat, designed to facilitate cooperation and learning between universities, a strong capacity and outreach service to invest in skills and capacities in universities and collaboration between them. And finally, a community of practice that we set up to share experiences and good practices on institutional change, also with other external experts. So I will briefly illustrate some of other results. Apart from KTU, we have other 6 universities which have been embarking in this journey of change and transformation. As mentioned already, it is not an easy, let's say, process, but we are very satisfied with the concrete achievements and results that they've been achieving in these 3 years. So as you can see, each of them focused on some specific intervention areas. Of course, not all of them. It was impossible. So they actually selected those which were of more strategic and more need in their universities. So for instance, in Spain, there was a big focus on open science and research assessment and research ethics. So especially through some acceleration services, but also specific methods and actions such as internal deliberations, consultations, focus groups, and surveys, they've been able to actually launch an institutional open science strategy in line with COARA, which was an important step towards institutional transformation, but also to set up a training program, for instance, on research ethics, or also to implement a code on ethical principles to foster transparent research. We have the case of Luis in Italy, mainly focusing on open science, but also supporting the mobility of researchers. And they've been working a lot on awareness raising, activities, public events, training and seminars within their context, and able to launch an institutional open science strategy, but also publish a third mission entirely on open science within their university, and also implement new policies and schemes to attract talents in Marie Curie and the ERC, for instance, programs. In Poland, University of Gdańsk worked a lot on the relationship with the public, especially with the business actors. In fact, they have been implementing a lot of training, a lot of activities to raise awareness on this cooperation with business. And they've been able to provide a center for career, but also IP guidance to their staff, a customer journey map, also a bachelor and master's program for science company society dialogue. UCC in Ireland instead worked only on one specific area, which was the sustainability in research finance, and they have been able to engage key stakeholders and therefore to revise their model of funding and of grants in relation to the research culture transformation and developing a participatory evaluation approach, which was fundamental in their case. Greece, they have been working on digitization and open science, and were able, through especially the Living Lab approach and framework, to integrate, for instance, new MOOCs, new online courses on digital health, implementing new training sessions on open access practices. And finally, in the Netherlands, the work on research career, research ethics, and research assessment, through awareness raising, but also policy connections. And very interestingly, for instance, they've been able to develop a creative theater play to stimulate reflections on a positive research culture, but also establish a research integrity center within their university, or a training format for supervisors. So as you can see, very concrete, tangible actions in the direction of transformation. This is just an overview of all the connections that we've been able to establish between universities. So it was not only an individual journey, but as Egle said, it was very important for them to connect between also widening, non-widening countries and share good practices and examples, especially through on-site exchanges and staff twinning mobility. Yeah, just some pictures about these exchanges happening on-site. So just to reflect and conclude on some results, as we've been evaluating through an internal survey, we saw that a majority of activities, and this was important, were integrated at a university strategic level. Also, the fact that the majority of our universities had received support from their heads, vice rectors also, or vice presidents, and this, as also Egle already mentioned, was a key lever of success in transformation journeys. So the active involvement and support from top management within their journey. Also, the role of facilitators, other organizations that played a key role in supporting, guiding, and mentoring universities, was key to their success. As mentioned already, a big focus on cross-institutional learning, so taking inspirations and very concrete examples also from others, but also the aspect of changing not only policies and structures, but also culture in your university was something deemed important in our project, and strengthening capacities. Also, interestingly, we saw that from some activities, some unanticipated outcomes emerged. For instance, new collaborations between universities, new funding streams, new engagement between stakeholders of our consortium. And on the right, you can actually see an analysis and an evaluation of the acceleration services used, and which were considered more used, but also more useful for transformation journeys. So as you can see, the Living Lab methodology co-creation approach was considered utilized, useful, and reproducible by university, calling maybe also only for a bit more adaptability and external stakeholder involvement. So what we take from our project is that we've been able to contribute to positive institutional transformation across universities with a range of really tangible, concrete achievements. And also we've been proving to be a testbed for the experimentation of the use of acceleration services within universities, therefore integrating new frameworks, but also new co-creation methodologies. However, we recognize that institutional change in line with the HERA for universities is really a complex, multidimensional, timely process. As said previously, it is important to build maybe on what is previously already happening. And this also requires the engagement of a broad ecosystem of actors, but also levers coming from different institutional, national, and European contexts. So I will conclude with a couple of recommendations. As said, these have been elaborated together with sister projects. So one aspect that we want to highlight is the aspect of the lack of clarity around what acceleration services are in our projects. So the HERA Action 13 thinks of acceleration services as very coherent instruments for institutional change, while in our projects, they've been understood as methodologies, as tools, as infrastructures, so very diversely. And this made it difficult to sometimes compare, but also analyze their impact effectively. So we call for, at the EU level, modular, flexible services framework adapted to universities' need, but also maybe to develop a common typology and of acceleration services. So defining, distinguishing their objectives and their definitions, and maybe also to think of reducing them. So we saw that some were more effective than others. So maybe distinguishing between actions and services which are of primary or secondary purpose. National governments should at the same time support universities through financial or policy instruments to adopt such services. And universities themselves, we call them to actually embed high impact acceleration services in their structures, in their action plans, not only as project tools, but really continuing to utilize such methodologies. We saw that mutual learning, structured twinning, and on-site exchanges were effective to advance impact and collaboration, so continue utilizing such methodologies, and also why not supporting others to replicate through guidance and mentoring. Another aspect that we would like to highlight is the prioritization and focus of transformation efforts. So we see that flexibility is essential. So depending on the maturity, on the needs of universities, at the same time, we need a clearer focus of transformation actions. So probably focusing on fewer and more strategic area of interventions allows for a deeper and stronger alignment with the HERA and with the HERA objectives. As we saw in our project, we started with 14 intervention areas, but then actually only a few were important and were strategic for our universities, mainly open science, research assessments, and talent circulation. So we think that EU governance should maybe in future calls clearly define and identify which are the key transformation domains in which universities should embark on transformation, and also maybe at government level, helping universities to identify through self-assessment tools such areas of transformation in alignment with European goals. And at university level, think through internal action plans and frameworks, which are the areas that have the highest transformative potential, but also being at the same time ambitious and realist on what can be achieved in a very specific period of time, maybe narrowing the focus, and if possible, to align those efforts to national or European frameworks to achieve deeper change. So you can find all the resources on our website. We have all the stories of transformation of our universities, but also a very concrete framework to replicate our methodology, an upcoming policy brief that we already presented in 2023 with our sister projects, and a new upcoming one this year. And finally, all the resources in our Catalyst Hub and opportunities also of collaborations with other projects and experts. So thank you very much. I'm happy to receive your questions if you have any.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Laura. At the moment, I don't see any question even in the chat. Okay, maybe we can go on with the presentations, and then if there will be questions also about the CATALISI project, we can address them at the end. Okay, then. I don't know if you Rimant, if you want to continue or okay, great. So we will have the presentation from Rimant from Accelerate Future HEIs project. I leave the floor to you, Rimant. Thanks very much for being here. Okay.
Right. Thanks, Sahida. So my name is Rimanta Rushaita. I'm a senior project officer at UIIN. And yeah, like I think the work that we do at UIIN is maybe quite relevant to a lot of university representatives here. So inviting you to the conference, because yeah, we work a lot with external engagement and supporting universities in kind of building the capacity and skills and culture within themselves to collaborate more with external stakeholders. But with that, I'll continue to the project. So we started on Accelerate Future HEI at the same time as CATALISI and aUPaEU, yet we still have 1 year to go. And yeah, we have 12 partners. 9 of them are testing partners, so universities, and we have a very interesting consortium. Partners from outermost regions like island of La Reunion, Madeira, Canary Islands. Yeah, so also widening countries, Latvia, we have Hungary, Romania, Portugal. So really interesting, like diverse consortium also in terms of type of institutions. So we have like small regional universities, but more kind of like urban established institutions that are much bigger in scale, and like private universities. And so it comes with challenges, but also very like great insights of like how these transformation processes are rolling out in these different types of contexts. And then we have 3 acceleration partners. So UIIN, we are coordinators. We have Momentum in Ireland. They are taking care of our communication and dissemination, which we think is really, really crucial in these types of projects for especially stakeholder engagement and building kind of an attractive brand and yeah, like getting that leadership involvement and so on. And then also Timid in Germany. And they developed our impact assessment methodology, which is also really important. So the objectives are, yeah, like our methodology and approach is quite similar to CATALISI. So we started with identifying status quo of each university. Then, yeah, like the overall kind of aim is testing, developing, and implementing these acceleration services. So alongside, we are building capacity of different stakeholders, institutions. So we have an ongoing training program. And then, yeah, evaluation. We have also an independent expert board that are giving feedback and guidance to our partners. And finally, also, while we are here, generating some policy feedback of how to support these processes better and how to define future calls and so on. So our work in this project is underpinned by this quite straightforward framework. We call it our entrepreneurial innovative university framework, which brings a little bit of focus to like areas that we address. So we look at everything kind of through this entrepreneurial innovation glasses. And we look at 4 areas. So what kind of activities there are and we want to have in terms of this entrepreneurship and innovation mindset of different stakeholders, existing or non-existing organizational support, and wider impact in universities' external ecosystems. And then maybe a bit more in detail of like what we meant by these acceleration services. So first phase was about 18 months, I think first 18 months, where we did a lot of kind of work to understand where each university is. And we did that through focus groups with diverse stakeholders from each university. So they tried to kind of, like there was this co-creation aspect very strong from the very beginning to understand where they would like to be. And then through survey, kind of collect some data. Also, data helps to kind of get some buy-in and in terms of like also leadership engagement. So we did a survey and then each university defined kind of a strategic vision statement. So each university have the kind of like their own transformational goals and action plans. So then the next step was to create a roadmap from like where we want to be, from where we are, how do we get there, and what are the priorities. And that kind of led into defining these, we call them ITAPs. So let's just for simplicity call them action plans. But basically they are like extensive Excel sheets with like goals and activities that each partner are undertaking on the ground. And then we go into the phase 2, where we started, we also like saw some gaps in skills and capacity and so on. So we created this training program each university have like certain, number of KPIs to hit and so on, but it's more so to kind of really building that capacity and mindset and culture of like this bottom-up things going on, but also leadership. We have some workshops that are specifically for leadership and change leadership. And then we also have mentors. So each university were matched with mentors. And then we, every 3 months, come together in working group sessions to kind of share good practices, challenges. So this is like peer-to-peer kind of aspect. So we also have a whole kind of methodology to monitor and evaluate these activities, which is, again, another very extensive Excel sheet. And then we also have this external board that are also supporting this assessment and giving some guidance to universities. On top of that, we organize also, we call them cohort knowledge exchange events, which is also like this collaboration with sister projects, but also other external partners, are also different like program overlaps. Like we organized an event with Interact, for example. And I think one very important and interesting aspect of this call was to kind of also talk about investment strategy. So this is for longer term sustainability. And Agla, for example, mentioned that they started this like initiatives from 2016 or so. And we also have universities who came already with like very clear ideas and work that they started through different initiatives, but also having something like that penciled in that we also need to support partners to think about kind of like really, how to continue after the funding is over. I think it's a really important thing. And then, of course, communication. So storytelling, outreach, I think is really, really important in transformation processes. To engage stakeholders internally and externally as well. And then maybe I'll share a few examples. As this is our last partner meeting in Canary Islands in January. That's why we're all in t-shirts. But yeah, I'll just share a few examples. So one university in Latvia, in Vidzemes, is a small regional university, and they're trying to really kind of anchor themselves as a one-stop shop for, to be like between kind of like public organizations, research organizations, but also like kind of SMEs and like startups, and like, so really kind of like become important as an actor in that sense. And they have very practical activities that they're implementing. So they organize a business laboratory, youth innovation forum, and started municipal collaborations with 3 different regions. And this is all in the context of this project. So that's, I think, a really nice example. In UCLL, the team, so this is also just one aspect of what they're doing, but they kind of looked into how they can change their curriculum and the way they teach, and through that engage with also external stakeholders, but also break silos internally. So trying to kind of work with researchers, engage them in teaching, also have students engage in all those activities and co-creation. So yeah, like they created a new economic handbook. They also organized some projects with local SMEs, out of which came some internship opportunities for them and so on. So this is all like kind of a rolling snowball effect. But yeah, their pathway is through redefining a curriculum. And then a different type of initiative. So like it's a big institution. So IST is a big university in Portugal, and they actually started in this project just like from one department perspective, because it's just too complicated to have like a whole institution involved. So they're like, okay, what can we do from where we are? And they also started this initiative from previous projects. So it's like a more kind of established example. So they're creating a Build Hub, which is kind of like a thematic hub, which also kind of focuses on built environment, and they organize a lot of things like through like hackathons, mentorship, advisory board, but they link this academic expertise with the strategic industry needs. So here we see an example of sector-focused hub established by university, and it can accelerate innovation with strategic industries with clear policy relevance. And we have many more examples. So also all our deliverables are available to download. So if you're interested, check our website, and we will also be creating case studies next year, and also more kind of interactive stories. So it's coming. Maybe I'll just, for the sake of time, go to the challenges. So again, the reason I asked this question to Agla about the leadership commitment, because of course there's no question that it is important. So the what is there, but the how, I think, is still kind of like how to get that commitment. And from our recommendations with sister projects, one of the things could be like on an EU level to require sounds very strong, but yeah, clear evidence of leadership commitment in WIDERA calls. And yeah, kind of ensuring EU research career frameworks value transformation and engagement roles. So this is what Agla was talking about. And yeah, we are also working on a few other projects that kind of try to put that on a table as well. On a national level, funding leadership, mentoring, and training to build strategic ownership at senior and mid levels. So kind of not just go from bottom up to top down, but have something in between as well. So that kind of like connectivity. And yes, recognizing and rewarding active governance participation. And then on an institutional level, yes, embedding transformation goals in governance processes and maybe, yeah, like strategic goals of institution, and then reforming promotion criteria to reward innovation, engagement, and transformation work, and foster intercultural understanding and flexible collaboration models. And then another challenge I wanted to talk about was institutional capacity and coordination. So especially in a larger decentralized universities, it's more difficult to align faculties under one transformation agenda. So we see like silos, bureaucracy, communication challenges, also resistance to change, and kind of like no communication between research and education, and it hinders coordination. So the recommendations would be on EU and national level to fund programs that support cross-departmental coordination and peer learning mechanisms to strengthen that alignment, and establishing funding schemes for shared infrastructure and training within alliances and regional frameworks. And on institutional level, establishing maybe central transformation steering groups that would coordinate the work across these different departments, and also kind of providing people with guidance, materials, training, skills that are needed to drive these initiatives. And yes, so I just end with this, that it's transformation is about aligning vision, tools, and people for systemic change. And we believe that universities can act as bridges in this ecosystem and EU-wide innovation ambitions. I will end here.
Thank you very much, Rimanta, for your presentation, and congratulations on the work that you are doing with the project. And thanks for the recommendations that you share that really align in what also the other speakers were presenting, and also what Agla mentioned as challenges and recommendations that we see that also other universities in other countries in Europe might be facing the same challenges. I don't know if we have any question for Rimanta right now. Okay, in the chat, I don't see any question for the moment. Thanks again, Rimanta, for your time. And now I will give the floor to Jesus Alcober from aUPaEU project. Yes, the floor is yours, and maybe you can present yourself.
Yes,
thank
you very much, Frida. My name is Jesus Alcober. I'm associate professor at UPC, and I'm the coordinator of aUPaEU. Let me share my screen. And maybe it's like, let me see here, share my screen. Let's see, this is one. Can you see my screen, or I think
not yet. Okay.
Yes. Okay, let me see if it. No,
We see the slides, but not in presentation mode yet.
Okay, let me see this one. No? No, yes, no?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. But just I will explain during this 10 minutes that is left, more or less, about the aUPaEU project. This is the third sister project that we started in 2023 as the rest of the project, but we are finishing in 2 years, in 2027. Okay. And let me explain a little bit with the project, this aUPaEU project. The partners of this aUPaEU project is our 5 partners, 3 of them from the Unite Alliance, and two of them from the Epicure Alliance. That means that we are focusing on the alliances. Okay. And what we are doing is this pan-European initiative, accelerating institutional transformation in higher education institutions, providing these Agora platforms for alliances. What we are doing are offering this tool. Is not only a tool, it's tool plus processes plus best practices, plus lessons learned that we have co-created with alliances, that is from the alliances for the alliances. And in our case, the result is quite tangible because we are offering this open source platform for the alliance. That means that for each alliance, we have an agora for them. It's a different approach that we have seen before. No? There is not a European platform that we are offering services to the different stakeholders. We are offering the tool for the stakeholders in itself. Okay, and then for this specific event, we have these key connections. First, this is what Maria explained at the beginning, this ERA policy agenda 25-27. And we have as well the aspiring ERA. This is a very interesting tool. I was not aware of all the benefits, but from now it is a very interesting event because I understood exactly what they are doing. And that means that it's very, very useful for us to use their activities. And we are focusing on this institutional transformation, modernizing these higher education institutions with this ERA vision, not only for the previous agenda, but now from this next agenda. And for us, very important this integration between research and education. Remember that the alliances are funded by the Erasmus Plus projects and by the as well the WIDERA calls and other funding. That means that they have this mixed thing. That before I see that in the next one of the ambitions is to align this ERA and EEA. That means that alliances is a very interesting environment to work with this. And what we have achieved so far. So far, we have achieved is we have deployed 12 agoras for diverse university alliances. 12 agoras, just let me explain which is the implication of this. In the European, if you're not familiar with this concept, the European University Initiative, this is an initiative that started 7 years ago, and they started funding alliances of universities. We in Unite, we were at the beginning, 6 years ago, we were funded, but now the last alliances have been funded the last months. That means that currently we have 70 plus alliances in Europe. There is an average of 10 partners per alliance. That means that these 12 agoras means we are dealing with 100 universities, and the potential these 70 plus alliances means that potentially we can achieve these 800 alliances, universities or higher education institutions involved. This is quite ambitious, and the scalability is an issue as well that we are dealing with, not only from the resources point of view, but only from the infrastructure point of view. But anyway, so far we have provided this minimum viable solution. We are offering this platform as an open source platform. That means that at the end of the project, they will be able to use this platform as an open source. They can use this software because it's their software, and we can offer as well this maintenance fees and so on. We have a sustainability plan for this as well. Currently, we have because we request an agreement with the universities, with alliances, we have achieved this 20 agreements, signed agreements with universities. This is one of our challenges, because we have taken for some universities almost 1 year to sign an agreement, and this is a very simple agreement. This is one of my recommendations. These legal barriers is very difficult to innovate if you take 1 year to sign one agreement. That they say that we want to collaborate, nothing else. But just as a comment about this, and we are working on this testing, dissemination, and so on. Okay, and let me just show a short video about sorry, if I can. This is about the agoras. Yes. Sorry. I think, let me see, because I think I have to say that I have to share the audio, otherwise you will not listen to it. Okay. Yes. Oh. You see my...
Yes. Yeah.
Welcome to Agora, the platform where transformation happens. Agora is a digital platform designed to support universities' digital transformation through acceleration services. Agora becomes a central hub for networks of higher education institutions, facilitating access to shared resources, enhancing collaboration, and streamlining innovation processes. Every university has unique priorities and challenges. Agora provides flexible services that can be adapted to each institution's specific needs. From catalogs of research infrastructures and of courses to stakeholder management tools, Agora ensures that each institution gets the support they need to accelerate their digital transition. Agora helps university alliances overcome fragmented infrastructures and unlock real digital synergy, achieving cross-institutional collaboration. It facilitates both institutional transformation and open science. The platform enhances access for under-resourced institutions, making sure everyone has an equal chance to get involved in research and innovation. Agora is more than a platform, it's a community. Universities can foster collaboration among researchers, facilitate stakeholder engagement, improve research infrastructure sharing, and much more. Members of the Alliance use Agora services to facilitate their interactions. For example, on the Research and Innovation Proposal Service, researchers can join new research groups and share their project ideas, whereas the Research Infrastructures Catalog gives users access to highly specified labs, knowledge facilities, and computing centers. And if you need support, visit the Agora support website or reach out anytime at agora@widening.eu. Our team is just a click away. We are helping universities grow, connect, and succeed together. Step into Agora.
Go back to the... Yes. Well, you have seen this as a very short video explaining which is this, I would say, tangible platform. And this is in the minimum viable solution. What we are offering is a very basic list of services that the different alliances in the onboarding process they want to test. For example, they have this catalog of research infrastructures, catalog of courses, of training, of researchers, of experts, of internships, any type of technological transfer offices, any kind of catalog that you can imagine, as well events management and stakeholders management. For example, what we are using is we have not developed from scratch. We have used open source business platform that is named Odoo, and on top of this, we are developing what we need and we co-create with alliances. Okay. And this is action 13, but we are dealing with other actions as well, because we are dealing with gender equality. There is a dashboard of gender equality. We are dealing with research assessment as well, but different aspects. That means that, this is the 12. In fact, there are more than 12 and different levels of maturity. Remember that we are dealing with alliances. If it's complex to deal with one university, imagine with 10 universities. With completely different ways of doing, and we are knocking the door of the alliances. We are dealing with this. We are meeting with them, with the different stakeholders, and we convince them to start using the Agora. And we have these examples of the, for example, Unite, EU Green. They are starting because they decided, the board of directors, they decided to use the Agora from the officially next month. That means that they have tested and they are usually using it. But there are different levels of maturity. But which is the acceleration services that we offer, because what we propose is to this shared digital services. Okay, we are using all the information, no? Because we are using all the different platforms that are in Europe. We're using OpenAir, we're using different, and the idea is that the different alliances and even the higher education institutions, they can take this information, they can manage this information in an internal tool. This is their own tool, to achieve their objectives. Okay? That we are not motivating in itself the alliances, because they are motivated by the different alliances, projects and grant agreements and so on. That means that we facilitate, we make things happen. And this is the different access services, knowledge and resource hub, collaboration and community network, this learning capacity building hub, engagement and events hub. Different, I would say, these are groups of different services, because what we are doing is we are co-creating the different needs, solutions to the needs that they have, and we group this in these different acceleration services. For me, it's very, very important. First, is tailored, is bespoke. Second, open source is key aspect of open source. We are dealing with the universities using Microsoft, Google, and even they are not. There are countries that cannot use these platforms. But we need open source software in Europe. It's very important, because we need digital sovereignty. Very important. Okay, and with this, if the different alliances have these tools, they can collaborate each other. They can seamlessly, they can use it and they can collaborate. Okay, and this is what we are doing with the different alliances. Related to the challenge, well, the challenge, first, this challenge of, this challenge of these fragmented joint infrastructures. The different universities have their own infrastructures. When I say infrastructures, I'm not saying research infrastructure. I say that they're using this platform, that they are using completely fragmented platforms, that they cannot interoperate. They are not using APIs, and it's very difficult to provide. For example, in our case, when we are dealing with the different universities in one alliance, we have to analyze one by one, how can we deal with these issues? And it's very hard. But we need this, because it's a barrier to collaboration. Okay? There's a lack of these shared frameworks, and we have identified gaps in this interoperability. And our recommendations is that we need to have at the European level these interoperable, user-friendly platforms for better integration. And they are doing, because all these the platforms that I mentioned before, they are going in that direction for sure. There is no. I was talking about the internal tools that they are using, the internal tools of the universities and the alliances. Okay, and we need to improve this design, raise awareness. We have to explain. We are doing a lot of training and with the different stakeholders of the alliances to use these tools. And the idea is to make this sustainable. Okay? And the next step is to co-design these interoperable infrastructures, co-create with them, because I always explain, if I provide a solution to one alliance, the 70 plus alliances can reuse this solution. Why we have to reinvent or to redo this solution? We can take these benefits from the Agoras. And the second challenge is the limited monitoring. The alliances now they are requesting, please let me know how can we get KPIs, because we want to measure the impact. In the Agoras, one of the goals is to measure the impacts of what we are doing, because it's very important. You can do access, you can do activities, but if you cannot measure the impact, you have a problem, because otherwise you cannot demonstrate what you are doing. Okay? And the idea is to develop not only, because at the end, Agora is an implementation of the I would say the framework, no? But in this framework, these best practices, we have to identify which are the indicators. We are talking about digital transformation. What does this mean? In my university, I'm digital transformed 10%, 50%, 80%. I don't know if I a high-level digital transformed organization or not. We need indicators. Otherwise, it's difficult to measure. No? And we need this kind of monitoring, evaluation dashboard. But this is the idea, that we have to think about this dashboards. It's important to say to this university, you are, I would say, 10% or 20% or 50%. You are in a good way. But just ideas. And conclusions, just to finish, is that is what we mentioned before. We need this transformation, the way to transform, and for us, because we are very focused on the widening countries, if we are providing to the widening countries higher education institutions the right tool, that not only provides the tool, but the processes, best practices, and lessons learned, we can quickly, because for me, acceleration service is a quickly way to achieve other the front runner universities from the digital transformation point of view. The Agora is just an implementation of this idea, but it's open source and it's co-created and it's a collaborative tool. And we have to collaborate, the higher education, with the policymakers to achieve these actions or the ERA digital agenda that Maria presented before. It's very interesting to work on this direction because we are working shoulder to shoulder with the universities. You are knocking the doors of the universities. They need these results. And the next steps is this policy development and thinking about this sustainability and long-term impact. For us, the key word is impact. It's not the activities, it's not outcomes, it's impact. Otherwise, there is no sense to do what we are doing. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jesus, for presenting us the work that you've been doing, and congratulations on that.